To usher in the Independence Day holiday, we're especially excited to present tonight's program, one that pays respect to our country's history and to the musical landscape that history inspired. The catalyst and idea for this evening came from an extraordinary book just out called Songs of America by Pulitzer Prize-winner Jon Meacham and country music legend Tim McGraw. The book connects us to music as an unsung force in our nation's history. As historian Doris Kearns Goodwin says on the book's back jacket, and I'm going to quote, "Songs America is not just a cultural journey. It strikes our deepest chords as Americans: patriotism, protest, possibility, creativity, and at the root of it all, freedom of expression enshrined in our founding document." That's unquote. What's important to keep in mind is that music told the story of America in the moment of history forming. The important songs in our history were a direct response by artists to express in real time what the country felt and experienced, whether we were proud or angry. And while we must keep the songs and stories of earlier generations alive, we also need to create those next songs that tell our unfolding story. In early May, I asked 3 Columbus-based songwriter friends, Sally Fingerett, Gnezda, and Parker MacDonell, to perform together at Gramercy Books. I told them about this amazing new book coming out and wondered if they'd play songs from it. They didn't hesitate to volunteer their talent. Within a couple of weeks, I got each of them an advance copy of Songs of America from Random House, its publisher. The 3 no sooner had the book in hand before they were immersed in the stories and the music within these pages. From the battle hymns of the Revolution to the songs from the defining events of the Civil War and the fight for women's suffrage, to the folk, country, and blues unleashed during the intense period of the 60s. We had an initial meeting in early June. Sally, Eric, and Parker were eager to figure out the set order and to rehearse, which they did at Sally's house last weekend. And they've created an inspired playlist. Tonight, you're going to hear story mixed with song. You're going to be taken back in history. You're even going to get to participate in a sing-along. Now let me introduce my three musician heroes. Singer-songwriter Eric Gnezda is creator and host of the American Public Television series Songs at the Center, airing on more than 300 stations coast to coast. A regular performer at Nashville's Bluebird Cafe, Eric is the recipient of the Ohioana Citation for Music competition, joining Michael Feinstein, featured in American Songbook, Jorma Kekkonen, who I mentioned earlier, and Chip Davis of Mannheim Steamroller. An Emmy-nominated TV journalist, Eric has seen success with a wide range of songwriting styles, from inspirational anthems to country to comedy. Eric and his work have been featured on media around the globe, including ESPN, Entertainment Tonight, and NPR. His latest single, Separation, was named one of the top 25 songs of 2018 by Detroit radio's Phil Mack of WFHR-FM. Eric, come on out here. We're kind of crowded. Parker MacDonell has been using his original songs, voice, and acoustic guitar to communicate with audiences even before he graduated with a degree in music from Dartmouth College. A veteran of the Los Angeles club scene and college student unions across the United States, Parker was named Best New Artist of the Year in 1983 by the listeners of Pete Fortinell's Mixed Bag Show on New York City's WNEW. He played bass for Chuck Berry and Bo Diddley, and he's released 4 recordings: Miracle on Broad Street with Matt Munhall, The Present Tense, Looking for You, and Home to the Heart. He performs regularly in the Columbus area with Doug Morgan and Phil Maneri as an acoustic trio. While he's not writing or performing, he helps entrepreneurs turn their ideas into great companies as managing director of the Ohio Tech Angels Fund at Rev 1 Ventures. Parker, come on out. Playing piano, guitar, and bass, Sally Fingerett is one of the founding mothers of the Four Bitchin' Babes, an all-female original musical comedy theater troupe. With 9 Babe cast recordings spanning 30 years of touring performing arts centers across the United States and Canada, Sally has also recorded 5 solo CD projects that include duets with pals Janice Ian and Jonathan Edwards, as well as co-writes with Tom Paxton. Her song of compassion and equal rights, Home is Where the Heart Is, has been recorded by Holly Near, Ronnie Gilbert, and folk legends Peter, Paul, and Mary for their CD and PBS special, Lifelines. Sally's compositions can be found in Contemporary Cabaret, a songbook celebrating such composers as Stephen Sondheim, Kander and Ebb, and Andrew Lloyd Webber. Sally, come on out. Without further delay, Song of America.
Well, thank you everybody for coming out tonight, standing in line. It was really, I felt like a rock star for about 5 minutes there. Now I know what it feels like to be a rock star. Got lots of great friends and wonderful family here tonight, so thank you for making the effort. So we'll start the concert tonight with a song that's recognized by the featured authors, Meacham and McGraw. How many people have the book, by the way? Okay, Linda and I have a bet about how many books are going to get purchased tonight. So I took the over, by the way, and the over-under. So, but Jon Meacham and Tim McGraw talk about this song that I'll start the concert with is really the first popular American patriotic song written east of the Mississippi. A guy named John Dickinson wrote the lyrics for this song in 1768, so 8 years before the Declaration of Independence. And if you had your copy, or if you have your copy of Songs of America in hand, anybody bring theirs in? Okay, well, you can. The story about this song begins right at the beginning of the book on page 8. So check it out. It's got the lyrics in there. One of the reasons this song captured my imagination was because my daughter is a graduate of Dickinson College, which was named after its lyricist. But the tune itself is not American. It's a British tune, as were a number of the early patriotic American songs that we really hold so dear. Much later, of course, the Brits would turn the tables on us during the British invasion, but more about that later. Here's the Liberty Song, and this is kind of a marching song if you want to. Come join hand in hand, brave Americans all, and rouse your bold hearts at fair liberty's call. No tyrannous acts shall suppress your just claim, or stain with dishonor America's name. In freedom we're born, and in freedom we'll live. Our purses are ready, steady, friends, steady. Not as slaves, but as free men, our money will give. Our worthy forefathers, let's give them a cheer. To climates unknown did courageously steer. Through oceans to deserts for freedom they came, and dying bequeathed us their freedom and fame. In freedom we're born, and in freedom we'll live. Our purses are ready, steady, friends, steady. Not as slaves, but as free men, our money will give. Then join hand in hand, brave Americans all. By uniting we stand, by dividing we fall. In so righteous a cause, let us hope to succeed. For heaven approves of each generous deed. Everybody. In freedom we're born, and in freedom we'll live. Our purses are ready, steady, friends, steady. Not as slaves, but as free men, our money will give.
Oh my goodness. Great job.
They haven't heard this song yet. In fact, nobody's ever heard that song.
Well, am I next?
You are, I think.
My chosen piece from the book, which I have to say as a folk singer, it's fascinating to really get that it's not the history of music in this book, but is the music of history, which makes it a great read. I've enjoyed every minute of it. So my chosen piece begins with Abigail Adams and the letter that she wrote to her husband back in March of 1776. So we've moved up, 8 years? Okay. Now you can imagine that he is at the conference and he's working on the Declaration and he's a busy guy. And so she's going to write him a letter. And I'm only imagining myself what's in the letter, Dear John, the dog kicked over the butter churner. John, you left the door to the outhouse open. Really, come on. And then she writes, and by the way, in the new code of laws, which I suppose it will be necessary for you to make, I desire you would remember the ladies and be more generous and favorable to them than your ancestors. Remember, all men would be tyrants if they could. If particular attention is not paid to the ladies, we are determined to foment a rebellion and will not hold ourselves bound by any laws in which we have no voice or representation.
Amen, sister!
Go, Abigail. Well, we all know the outcome. Fast forward. Only 96 years to 1872. Susan B. Anthony, a major renegade and bad girl in the suffragette movement, opened her morning paper in Rochester, New York one day. And I'm going to read from the book now, because there's some great factual stuff here. In the editorial, as she chose to read it in the Rochester newspaper that day, couldn't have been clearer. Perusing on Friday, November 1st of 1872 edition of the Rochester Democrat and Chronicle, the suffrage leader, Susan B. Anthony, took the words of the lead piece literally. Quote, "Now register!" Exclamation, end quote. The newspaper said the presidential election was the next week, and the editors called on all their readers to exercise the right to vote. Quote, "Today and tomorrow are the only remaining opportunities," the paper said. "If you were not permitted to vote," quote again, "if you were not permitted to vote, you would fight for the right, undergo all privations for it, face death for it. You have it now at the cost of 5 minutes' time to be spent seeking your place of registration and having your name entered, registered now," end quote. Well, Susan B. Anthony thought that was a wonderful idea. And her 8th district, the ward's registry, also doubled as a barbershop. And so she grabbed her 3 sisters, and the 4 gals headed out to register, as the newspaper never indicated that this appeal was made to men only. Needless to say, antics ensued, and the adventures in the book, I'm not going to tell you, you'll need to purchase the book, but for daring to register to vote, she was arrested, she was convicted, and she was fined $100, which I think in 1872 is a big chunk of change. So, 3 decades later, now we're talking 1899, all of the women who had fought for abolition were now busy fighting for women's rights, like Harriet Tubman. And this suffragist, Rebecca Naylor Howard, decided that America now had its own music post-Civil War. So she wrote the lyrics to this next song, and she borrowed the tune from Marching Through Georgia, which was a big Civil War hymn. It echoes the Civil War's theme of deliverance in the language of Jubilee, with women's suffrage, not abolition, as the current goal. P.S. It would take until 1920 for all this signing and marching and fighting to push the 19th Amendment through. In the meantime, this song is a sort of a jubilee. It's a sing-along, and we could do it 5-6 times just so you could all sing along, but I'll just do it maybe 4. Bring the dear old banner, boys, and fling it to the wind. Mother, wife, and daughter, let it shelter and defend. Equal rights, our motto is, we're loyal to the end of giving the ballot to the mothers. Here we go. Hurrah, hurrah, let's bring the jubilee. Hurrah, hurrah, the homes they shall be free. So we'll sing the chorus from the mountain to the sea, giving the ballot to the mothers. Let's try that. Hurrah, hurrah, we'll bring the jubilee. Hurrah, hurrah, the homes they shall be free. So we'll sing the chorus from the mountain to the sea, giving the ballot to the mothers. One last time. Hurrah, hurrah, let's bring the jubilee. Hurrah, hurrah, the homes they shall be free. So we'll sing the chorus from the mountains to the sea, giving the ballot to the mothers, giving the ballot to the mothers. One last time. Giving the ballot to the mothers.
Thanks, Sally. Great job. I'm really honored to be here, and I'm actually encouraged that there are this many people left in America who still read. So I want to, really happy to be here. You guys have done so great so far. I've reached the time in the program where I realized it might have been a good idea if I'd rehearsed. But anyway, Linda, thanks for inviting me along with these two esteemed guests, and this wonderful, not only brick and mortar that she's put together, but just the vibe here and the spirit is just wonderful. And what a gift to Columbus this venture is, Gramercy Books. And so,
Amen. Amen.
Back in March, I did something I should have done decades ago, and that was visit Gettysburg. And for those of you who've not been there, if you haven't gone yet, go. It's transforming. It really is. And as a matter of fact, exactly 156 years ago today, it was the second day of the battle, the bloodiest battle ever fought on American soil. And in fact, just about this time of night was the battle-changing event with Joshua Chamberlain, where he, running out of ammunition, told his fighting men to fix bayonet, and they ran the rebels off the hill. Many believe that was not only the turning point of the battle, but the turning point of the war. So I have always been interested in Lincoln and the Civil War, but it was, as I said, it changed my life. And Lincoln's always been of interest, I think, to all Americans. Particularly, my interest in him is that of all the presidents that I've studied, he seems to have perhaps had the most artistic persona. He was given towards melancholy and loved nostalgia. And so in the book, when I read about his favorite song, I looked it up and wanted to perform it. It's a song called 20 Years Ago. It's written from the point of view of someone who's speaking to his friend Tom, reminiscing about life. And I can only imagine the grief and the pressure and the stress that Lincoln was feeling, and maybe there was good reason for him looking back on a time that was better for him. But on page 88 of the book, Jon Meacham talks about the the song, and it has 7 verses and no chorus. I'm going to do 3 of them. So this was Abe Lincoln's favorite song. I've wandered to the village, Tom. I've sat beneath the tree upon the schoolhouse playing ground which sheltered you and me. But none were there to greet me, Tom, and few were left to know that played with us upon the grass some 20 years ago. The river's running just as still, the willows on its side are larger than they were, dear Tom. The stream appears less wide. The grapevine swing is ruined now, where once we played the bow and swung our sweethearts, pretty girls, just 20 years ago. Some now are in the churchyard laid, some sleep beneath the sea. But few are left of our old class excepting you and me. And when our time shall come, dear Tom, and we are called to go, I hope that they'll lay us where we played just 20 years ago. I hope they'll lay us where we played just 20 years ago.
The book is in this wonderful order of history. And what I liked is how it approaches pop music as well. It's not just, Sam Cooke is in the book for Change Is Gonna Come, and all the great artists who were fortunate and made good livings in the arts, but they were Americans, new Americans, some of them, and they felt compelled to take responsibility as an artist and sort of submit their own emotional views through music. And this next song is a beautiful case in point. The music was written by Jay Gorney, a Russian immigrant, and the lyrics were by Yip Harburg. Now, Yipsel Harburg, I'm thinking he was Jewish, maybe, like myself. If you don't know, he was the composer who wrote Somewhere Over the Rainbow, along with If I Only Had a Brain, which you had me right there, and the Lullaby League. I looked into everything he's ever written. It was astounding. But he was called, Yip Harburg was called Broadway's social conscience. And together these two men collaborated to write one of Depression era's most iconic tunes. And it's my pleasure to do this because I've been wanting to learn it probably my adult life. And as a songwriter, to learn someone else's song, it's like, yeah, I'll do that later. And so later arrived, and I'm thrilled it's here. They used to tell me I was building a dream, and so I followed the mob. When there was earth to plow or guns to bear, I was always there, right on the job. They used to tell me I was building a dream with peace and glory ahead. Why should I be standing in line, just waiting for bread? Once I built a railroad, I made it run, made it race against time. Once I built a railroad, now it's done. Brother, can you spare a dime? Once I built a tower to the sun, brick and rivet and lime. Once I built a tower, now it's done. Brother, can you spare a dime? Once in khaki suits, didn't we look so well? Full of that Yankee doodly-dum. 500,000 boots slogging through hell. I was the kid with a drum. Oh, say, don't you remember? They called me Al. I was Al all the time. Why don't you remember? I'm your pal. Brother, can you spare? Hey, I'm talking over here. Brother, can you spare a dime? Thank you.
Wow. Wow. Well, I'm going to go back a little bit further back in the history. Here's another early American song. This one's from the War of 1812, and like the Liberty Song, which I sang first, it's the lyric is written by an American based on a British melody, so it was kind of a theme early on. Unlike the Liberty Song, I can guarantee you've heard it before, and you can relearn the story of the history of how it was written on page 37 of the book Songs of America. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Can't beat the classic.
Well, you know, as songwriters, anyone who's creative, as I suspect, I think we all are in our own way, but sometimes we'll create something and the result is totally different than what we had expected. And when Merle Haggard wrote Okie from Muskogee, he wrote it as a satirical song about what was going on. But at that point, it was a very divisive time, of course, in America, the late 60s, early 70s. And what was known as the silent majority latched onto the song and made it their anthem. And you can read more about this on page 174. Now, this is a guitar song, and I decided 3 weeks ago that I was going to do something I'd never done before, and that was perform a song with guitar. And then I heard myself play it, and luckily Parker's here, and we're going to do it. So here we go. We don't smoke marijuana here in Bexley. We don't take our trips on LSD. We don't burn our draft cards down on Main Street. 'cause we like living right and being free. We don't make a party out of loving, speak for yourself. We like holding hands and pitching woo. Pitching woo. We don't let our hair grow long and shaggy because we don't have any left, like the hippies out in San Francisco do. All right, everybody. Well, I'm proud to be an Okie from Muskogee, a place where even squares can have a ball. We still wave Old Glory down at the courthouse, and white lightning's still the biggest thrill of all. Leather boots are still in style for manly footwear. Beads and Roman sandals won't be seen. Football's still the roughest thing on campus, and the kids here still respect the college dean. All right, here we go. I'm proud to be an Okie from Muskogee, a place where even squares can have a ball. We still wave Old Glory down at the courthouse, and white lightning's still the biggest thrill of all. And white lightning's still the biggest thrill of all. In Muskogee, Oklahoma, USA. Now, in 1974, Richard Nixon was feeling the heat, and he went down to Tennessee to play the piano at the Grand Ole Opry and to make a speech. And there were some of his supporters that took this song and they wrote their own version of it, and we're going to sing a verse of that right now. I've been hearing all this talk about impeaching the man we chose to lead us through these times. But talk like this could weaken and defeat us. Let's show the world we're not the quitting kind. All right, now here's probably your favorite version of the song, written by Dave Murphy of the Irish Brigade. Well, I'm proud to be a Buckeye from Ohio. Football in Columbus is the best. Ohio State's the team that we all cheer for. On to victory and to hell with all the rest. All right.
Okay, well, we've got a couple surprises for you tonight. Nobody was more surprised than I was when my longtime friend and musical brother Dave Shields called me from San Diego and said, "Parker, what are you doing on July 2nd? My wife Camille and I are going to be in Cleveland to go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Museum. Why don't you come up and join us?" And I said, "I'll go you one better." I'm going to be singing with two friends at my favorite independent bookstore in the United States. And how about if you come to our concert, because I was planning to sing a song that you wrote. So we're kind of transitioning back and forth between songs from the book, and now we're going to get into songs that aren't in the book. And yeah, we're in tune. What I love about this song that Dave wrote with two other friends of mine, Rand Bishop and Jim Lum, is that no matter how you feel about your country going out and making war on other countries, everybody pretty much feels the same way about the impact that war has on the veterans of our nation. And so this is a song about Dave's uncle, who was in a veterans hospital in Northridge, California for his final years, and it's called Veterans Day. There's a place on a hill where my Uncle Jack stayed, and I remember our visits tell about heroes and bravery and fathers that fell. Yes, if these walls could speak, they'd probably cry. The war is over, but the tears never dry. My uncle'd say, deal me in to Captain Mike Brown. They'd play poker for pennies, sun up to sundown, while prisoners of peace, ex-prisoners of war, pushed walkers and wheelchairs across concrete floors. And if these walls could speak, what tales they would tell about brothers in arms and their journeys to hell. Yes, if these walls could speak, they'd probably cry. The war is over, but the tears never dry. Yes, if these walls could speak, their tales would bring back all those fathers and brothers and my tough Uncle Jack. Yes, if these walls could speak, I know they would cry. The war is over. War is over. War is over, but the dead never die. There's a place on a hill where my Uncle Jack stayed, and I remember our visits on Veterans Day.
Whoa.
David Shields.
Nice job. That was great.
Well, I'm next. There we go. Oh, well, that's got protein. Maybe down a little bit, because this is the big one. So, as a songwriter, as a quiet political activist, I've written my share of songs about important things in the world. Today, this song, I really didn't sit down to do it on purpose. It just came, and it was after a fight I had with my then 6-year-old daughter when I threw gum out the window. And she yelled at me. She'd been watching a lot of NPR and PBS, and it was just some, zoo show. And I guess gum is, bad for the world at large because the animals eat it and then they choke and die. I know that now. I didn't know it then. And then I realized that, I'm not living in my world. I'm living in her world. And I'm just sort of borrowing it for a little more time. But it's my job to teach her how to make sure that her kids are safe and happy. And so now I wanted to do this one tonight because after watching the debates and hearing climate change, I wrote this a long time ago, and frankly, I thought we had that thing under control, and clearly not so much. This is called When I Wake Up. Well, every night at 8 o'clock, we lay our head for pillow talk. Mommy, mommy, tell me true. Let me ask these things of you. Like when I wake up from this night, oh, will there be a morning? Will the sun be shining bright? What will I find dawning? And when I wake up from this night, oh, will there be a forest, or will the selfish, greedy men take the big trees from us? Oh, when I wake, will the rain stop coming? When I wake, will the sun stop shining? And when I wake, will the gardens growing stop from loving me? Tell me please, Mama, when I wake from this night, oh, will I be awakened by sirens from a nuclear site? Accidents can happen. When I wake from this night, will there be tomorrow? Will the earth have had enough of all this sorrow? When I wake, will there be oceans? When I wake, will I still be frightened? When I wake, will there be horizons that I cannot see? Tell me please, Mama, when I wake from this night, oh darling, who on earth is gonna make it right when I wake up from this night? Here I lay, right beside my daughter. In my soul, I've journeyed to protect her. More than that, it's my job to teach her how to love this land. I take her hand and I say, when you wake up from this night, oh yes, there'll be a morning. Sun's gonna be shining bright with new ideas dawning. And when you wake up from this night, we'll have a new beginning. Show the earth due respect, create new laws for living. When you wake, we're gonna work together. When you wake, we're gonna start all over. When you wake, we'll take back forever. We will rise up strong. We don't have long when you wake up from this night. Oh, darling, you and I are gonna make it right. When we wake up from this night, you and I are gonna make it right. When we wake up from this night, you and I are gonna make it right. When we wake up from this night. Thank you.
The three of us have got to do a concert tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
I've already got the date, January 25th.
Okay.
So one of the most amazing songs that I've just always been enamored of is Galveston by Jimmy Webb. As a songwriter, there's so many wonderful things about the song just from craft perspective. And you think about a one-word title and that the song is shaped around, but the song is about something else. And the African American spirituals during the years of slavery and thereafter were replete with a term that they called masking, in which on the surface you thought it was about one thing, but it was about something more. And for instance, Swing Low, Sweet Chariot is an example where the chariot, Swing Low, was actually the Mason-Dixon line, where they were hoping that that would come farther south so that they'd be free. Galveston's not exactly masking, but Jimmy Webb was in L.A. writing at a time where his anti-war viewpoint was not particularly popular. And I actually had a chance to talk to Jimmy about this song. And by the way, I fervently dislike a name dropper. As I was telling Governor DeWine when he came to our taping a couple weeks ago. But, I told him that I was just so amazed with this song because without the story of the soldier, the anti-war statement, that Galveston would just be a jingle for the Chamber of Commerce. And I don't know if it was by design. I suspect it wasn't because Jimmy Webb was not expecting it himself, but when Glenn Campbell cut the song and did it an up-tempo song, it was not the way that Jimmy Webb had initially written it. He wrote it as a slow ballad. And as the years progressed, Jimmy would perform it a little slower and even did so with Glenn Campbell. And it's my pleasure to sing the song in a slower tempo. My fervent hope is that Jimmy Webb never hears me do it. Galveston, oh Galveston, I still hear your sea winds blowing. I still see her dark eyes glowing. She was 21 when I left Galveston. Galveston, oh Galveston, I still hear your sea waves crashing while I watch the cannons flashing and clean my gun and dream of Galveston. I still see her standing by the water, standing there looking out to sea. And is she waiting there for me on the beach where we used to run? Galveston, oh Galveston, I am so afraid of dying before I dry the tears she's crying, before I watch your seabirds flying in the sun at Galveston. Galveston.
Yeah. Jimmy would be proud. He'd be proud.
I'm coming over there.
Oh, that's right. You're coming over here.
Coming in.
The music stopped and we don't have chairs. We're out of luck. Where are you going?
I don't know. I thought I might go out for a drink or something.
You be Mo, Manny, Mo, and Jack.
Okay.
Sit in the middle.
We choreographed this. We worked on it long and hard.
I feel like Barry Manilow sitting up high like this. Well, I'm here. So this is a song I wrote a little while ago, also due to my daughter and her influence, and I'm just going to sing it. Hey, Mitch, can you push it a little in the amp because there's no onboard speakers here? Oh, there we go. On our corner, there's this nice man, his name is Mark. He's always smiling. He's got this house. Mama comes on Wednesdays in the evening with soup so steaming. He shares his house with his friend Martin. They're not brothers, they're not cousins. My little girl wonders all about these men. I take hold of her hand and I begin. Home is where the heart is, no matter how the heart lives. Inside your heart, where love is, that's where you've got to make yourself at home. Through the yard lived Deb and Tricia with their tools and ladders and their room addition. Kid yells over, are you having a baby? They wink and smile, they say, someday, maybe. Through their doors go kids and mommies. Funny how you don't see daddies going. Ah, don't you let 'em in. My little girl wonders about the house with no man. I take hold of her hand and I begin. Home is where the heart is, no matter how the heart lives. Inside your heart, where love is, that's where you've got to make yourself at home. Round the corner, here comes Martin. He's alone now, he tries smiling. He roams around his well-stocked kitchen. He knows that fate soon be coming. My little girl wonders, where will Lily live? I take hold of her hand and I begin. Want to sing along? Home is where the heart is, no matter how the heart lives. Inside your heart, where love is, that's where you've got to make yourself at home. Martin sits and waits with his windows open. His house is empty, his heart is broken. We bring him toys and watercolors. He loves to hear my little baby stories. She's the gift I share. She's his companion. She's the string on the kite. She guides him up into the wind. My little girl wonders who will care for him. We take hold of his hand. We begin. Let's begin now. Home is where the heart is. No matter how the heart lives, inside your heart where love is, that's where you've got to make yourself at home. That's where you've got to make yourself at home.
Thank you, sister. Well, Sally, you've returned the favor. Now I have the unenviable task of following you in that song. That's in case you didn't hear, that was a song that was recorded by Peter, Paul, and Mary, in an iconic song. So, switching subjects slightly, the topic of immigration sure created a lot of strong feelings all over the world, hadn't it? Particularly right here at home. It seems to be all I hear about on NPR in the morning. So I'd like to do a brand new song about this topic. It's the first of what I hope will be many songs that Jenny Morgan and I write together. And I'd like to ask Jenny to come up and help me with the public debut of our song. We set off on a journey to which we could not see an end, though we hoped to find a better place to live. We only have some food and clothes and water for a day. Sister, can we have a place to stay? We left behind a country that meant so much to us. The air was clean and we used to live in peace. But then we saw a wicked shadow fall across our land. Now my family could use a helping hand. Could you please let us in? If you do, we'll never bother you again. We'll be on the road tomorrow to see what lies ahead. I'm just a mother with a child. Let us in. Now we've been traveling a month to see you, immigration man. At the border of El Norte we now stand. My brother came before me, he found work and bought a place. We can do the same by your good grace. You're a parent too, I see by the photo on your desk. Know you want to keep your country safe. If you don't fear the things I say or do, then I'll only ask one thing of you. Won't you please let us in? If you do, we'll never what lies ahead. I'm just a mother with a child. Let us in. Long ago your grandmother was standing in my shoes, and the person in your place did not refuse to let her in. Please let us in. If you do, we'll make America so proud again. The land of opportunity, just like it's always been, for a mother and her child. Come on now. Let us in. Please let us in.
Let us in.
If you do, we'll make America so proud again. The land of opportunity, just like it's always been, for a mother and her child. Let us in.
Mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes.
Let us in.
Walk a mile in her shoes.
Don't you?
Walk a mile in our shoes.
Jenny Morgan.
Well, I wrote the song in 2006 when I thought that the country was divided and couldn't get worse. And took it to about every publisher in Nashville, and they all said, oh, that kind of song only works during a period of crisis. And anyway, so it didn't get cut by anybody, but I did get an email one day from the Institute for Civility and Government, which is based in Houston, Texas, actually. And they were putting on an international conference on civility that was to be keynoted by Desmond Tutu. And they asked me to come and perform the song at that in Washington, D.C. And apparently Desmond Tutu at the last minute was called away because of the World Cup. So he wasn't able. By the way, let's hear it for the U.S. women. So when is the final? Sunday, of course, my travel day. But that's wonderful. That is great news. But anyway, so this is a song that, again, when you write a song, you never know where it's going to end up. Remember when a batter would get hit by the ball? He'd drop his bat and trot to first. There wouldn't have to be a brawl. And the talking heads on TV would disagree about the news. It wouldn't be a shouting match. They'd shake hands when they were through. Is this America, the land that we once knew? When we were all in it together, with different points of view, we would listen to each other. That's what Americans do. Is this America, or just states of red or blue? Remember when you needed help, you could call and reach someone. You wouldn't get a message telling you to please press 1. Celebrities weren't royalty, leaders weren't above the law. And remember when a school was the safest place of all. Is this America, the land that we once knew? When we were all in it together, with different points of view, we weren't afraid of asking questions. That's what Americans do. Is this America or one nation split in two? The whole world has changed, but if we give in to fear, won't we lose what we've had here? This is America, the land that we all love. And there's nothing that together we can't rise above. A little trust in one another, that's how our nation grew. This is America, the red, white, and blue. We are America, red, white, and blue. We hope that if you feel so moved, you'll sing along with us. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of green, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crowned thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we'll overcome someday. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe that deep in I'll come someday.
This land is your land, this land is my land.
From California
To the New York Island, from the redwood forest to the Gulf waters. This land was made for you and me.
Here's the special verse. There was a big high wall, tried to stop me. A sign was painted, said private property. But on the other side, it didn't say nothing. That side was made for you and me.
This land is your land, this land is my land. From California to the New York Islands, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land, come on. This land is my land. From California to the New York Islands, from the
Thank you.
Thank you, Linda Cass. Thank you very much, Gramercy Books. Books are available. Please help writers out.
Okay, we got one more.
Hey, you guys, Parker, you got to get back up here.
I do?
Yeah, we need a quick transition after this one.
All right. It's all right, as we planned.
All right. Well, this is so nice of you to stick around, boy. This is such a treat to not have to sing your own songs. It's songwriting made easy. This is a song I wrote a year ago, and Linda actually wanted to do something around the release of the song that I think was in August or early September, and we decided it's kind of hard to do, have a big thing for a release for something that, is about 3 minutes. So she requested that if the opportunity comes up that I play it here. And so this is a song that was named, the one that she talked about was named one of the best songs of the year 2018 in Detroit. And it's called Separation. She once seemed to have it all. Brilliant, brave, and beautiful. She was everything you'd ever want to be. She was free and self-assured. Everyone looked up to her, a shining light for all the world to see. But she lost touch with who she was and all she'd ever been. Now we can't even talk without a fight. I hate to have to say it, 'cause it hurts down to the core. But I don't know my country anymore. She and I once shared a dream. We could do most anything as long as she and I stood side by side. But now I'm feeling left behind. She froze her heart and closed her mind, and we can't get beyond the great divide. Is it too late for her to wake and see what she's become? Is it too late to get back what we've lost? Sorry if I'm angry and afraid of what's in store, but I don't know my country anymore. Through the years we faced our fears whenever there was doubt, and always found a way to work it out. I'd love to say we'll make it like every time before. Thank you.
Eric Gnezda. Let's do This Land Is Your Land, This Land Is My Land, from California to the New York Island, Groundhog's Day, Flores, to the Gulf Stream water. This land was made for you and me. That's right.
Well, I roamed and rambled, and I followed my footsteps to the sparkling sands of her diamond deserts, and all around me, a voice was singing.
This land was made for you and me.
Come on, let's send it home.
This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream water. This land was made for you.
All right,
and
take
me.
it, audience, again.
This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream water. This land was made for you and me. This land was made for you and me. This land was made for you and me.
All right. Parker MacDonell.
Sally Fingerett.
Eric Gnezda.
Thanks to Mitch Hyde for doing sound for us, and Alan Beavers for video, and Linda, thank you.
Thank you for coming out on a school night.
It was fun. Is that a good night to do your Christmas and Hanukkah shopping a little early, okay? Just go over there and the books are waiting for you. We'll sign them. Just kidding.
No, he's not. We will, really.